Hello children, good morning to all. Welcome back to class 12 economics online class. Today we will talk about the 10th chapter in Indian economy, that is development experience of India, a comparison with neighbors. We have discussed the developmental strategies or developmental path of China, India and Pakistan. The overall development of these countries are classified into demographic indicators, GDP, that is gross domestic product, and human development indicators. We shall now comparatively analyze the development of these three countries. First of all, let's start with demographic indicator. Demography means study related to population. If we talk about demography, of every 6 person in the world, one is an Indian and another is Chinese. That means India and China are leading in the terms of population. When we compare population of India, China and Pakistan, the population of Pakistan is very small. Only 1/10 of population residing in Pakistan as compared to China and India. Then in terms of population, China has first position and India has second position in the world. At the same time, geographically, China is the largest nation among these three countries and its density is the lowest. Then data shows population growth is highest in Pakistan followed by India and China. Late 1970s, China introduced one-child norm to control population growth. Under this, mandating that the vast majority of parents in the country could only have one child. This is the major reason for low population growth in China. But this measure led to a decline in the sex ratio, that is in the proportion of female per 1000 males. Then also due to one-child norm, after few years in China there will be more elderly people in proportion to young people. So China introduced various social security measures like two-child norms, etc. Then in the case of India and Pakistan also, sex ratio is very low. When we talk about fertility rate, among these three countries, China has lowest fertility rate and it is very high in Pakistan. Then urbanization is high in China, that is 53% and Pakistan 38%. But India having only 32% of its population living in urban area. That was about the demographic comparison of India, China and Pakistan. Then we moving on, gross domestic product of these three countries. So China has the second largest GDP in terms of PPP. PPP means the purchasing power parity, that is $15.6 trillion. Then India GDP in terms of PPP is around $6.6 trillion and Pakistan is very less than India, it is just $0.83 trillion. Here you can see a table which shows annual growth of gross domestic product from 1980 to 2030. So from this table you can understand China was able to maintain double-digit average growth rate for more than 2 decades. So it has double-digit growth rate, that is 10.3 in 1980, 1990 and also in 10.2 in 2005 to 2030. While India's and Pakistan average growth rate is in 2030 is 7.6 and 4.4 respectively. Then in 1980s, Pakistan was ahead of India, but that was 6.3. In 2018, the growth rate of Pakistan was 6.3 and India was 5.7. So in 2008, in 1980s, Pakistan was ahead of India. But its growth rate declined to 4.4 in 2005-2013. Then India's growth rate was increased to 7.6 percentage in 2005-2013 from 5.7 in 1980-1990. Now we can discuss the sectoral wise contribution to GDP in these three countries. In China, only 10% of its total land area are suitable for cultivation because of its topographic and climatic conditions. Then there are again one table. Table shows the sectoral share of employment and GDP in 2013. So in China, in the year 2013, with 31% of workforce engaged in agriculture. So in China, 31% of workforce engaged in agriculture. Its contribution to the GDP is 10%. While India and Pakistan, the contribution of agriculture sector in GDP is 80% and also 25% respectively. And India is about 47% were engaged in agriculture sector, while in Pakistan the figure is about 44%. So according to work participation, the contribution to the GDP in agriculture is very less in India and Pakistan. Then when we talk about industrial sector or manufacturing sector, in China, manufacturing contributes 44% to GDP, whereas in Pakistan this is about 21% and in India it is 25%. But the contribution of service sector to GDP is very high in India and Pakistan. That is more than 50%. But in China it is only 46%. Okay. So from this we can understand China has followed the classical development pattern of gradual shift from agriculture to manufacturing and then to service sector. But India and Pakistan's shift has been directly from agriculture to service sector. Then if we look at the distribution of workforce, in the 1980s, India, China and Pakistan employed 19, 12 and 27% of its workforce in the service sector respectively. But in 2013, it has reached the level of 28, 39 and 42% respectively. Okay. So China's growth is mainly contributed by the manufacturing sector, whereas in both India and Pakistan, the service sector is emerging as a major player of development. Next, we are going to compare human development indicators in India, China and Pakistan. We have studied about importance of human development index or indicators in our lower classes. Let us look at how India, China and Pakistan have performed in some of the indicators of human development. So look at the table. It shows the performance of India, China and Pakistan on some selected indicators of human development, that is human development index and life expectancy at birth, adult literacy, GDP per capita, then people below poverty line, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, population using improved sanitations, then population with sustainable access to improved water sources, and also percentage of children malnourished, etc. So we are going to discuss some selected indicators of these three countries. So here China is moving ahead of India and Pakistan for many human development indicators. Now a very interesting factor about Pakistan. Pakistan is ahead of India in reducing proportion of people below the poverty line. That is education, sanitation and access to water, etc. So, people below poverty line is about 51% for Pakistan, but it is 61% for India. Then about the percentage of children malnutrition the figure is showing high in India than Pakistan. So Pakistan has only 31%, but India has 43.5%, the percentage of children malnourished. When we talk about maternal mortality rate, neither of these two countries, that is India and Pakistan, have been able to save women from maternal mortality. That is, in China, for 1 lakh birth, only 32 women die, whereas in India and Pakistan, about 190 and 170 women die respectively. So, here the maternal mortality rate per 1 lakh birth, in China only 32 women die during maternal period, then the rate is very high in India and Pakistan. Then all these three countries providing improved water sources for most of its population. The population with sustainable access to improved water sources are almost same in these three countries. That is 93 in India, then 92 in China and 91 in Pakistan. Then India has the largest share of poor among these three countries. So that means the people below poverty line is very high in India, that is 61%. As compared to China, that is only 19, and as compared to Pakistan, it is only 51%. So but there are many problems related to human developmental indicators. The above mentioned indicators are very important, but at the same time they are not sufficient. Along with this, we need liberty indicators. So these liberty indicators include democratic participation in social and political decision making, then also protection given to rights of citizens, etc. So in our human development indicator, liberty indicator have not ever been introduced. Without this indicator, construction of a human development index may be incomplete and useless. So we should also include this liberty indicator in our human development indexes. So these are the performance of China, India and Pakistan in different development indicators. That is in human development indicators, then GDP, then also demographic indicators. Okay students, now we can critically analyze the developmental strategies of India, China and Pakistan. We know that reforms, that is introduction of LPG policy, were initiated China in 1978, Pakistan in 1988 and India in 1991. Let us analyze the achievements and failure in pre and post reform period in these three countries. First of all, China. China has no compulsion as dictated by World Bank and International Monetary Fund to India and Pakistan. Because India and Pakistan had borrowed from IMF and World Bank, so they could force India and Pakistan to implement LPG policy. So such forces or such compulsion is never seen in the case of China. Then why did China introduce structural reforms in 1978? What is the reason behind this? Because under Maoist rule, the growth rate was very slow. Then there was lack of modernization, then economic development based on decentralization, self-sufficiency, then foreign technology, goods and capital had failed. So reforms were initiated in China. Then after introduction of reforms, there was existence of infrastructure in areas of education and health. And there was existence of infrastructure and also the successful decentralized planning and existence of small enterprises. Then through commune system, there was more equitable distribution of food grains. There was extension of basic health services in rural area, etc. So reform measures led to rapid growth in China. So reforms were successful in China. And what is the impact of these reforms on Pakistan economy? So we see that the reforms led to worsening of economic indicators in Pakistan. Both India and China performed well after the introduction of reforms. But the experience of Pakistan shows the growth rate of GDP and its sectoral constituents have fallen in the 1990s as compared to 1980s. Then the proportion of poor in 1960 was more than 40%, which declined to 25% in 1980s and started rising again in 1990. So it is mainly due to the political instabilities and some issues that carried out in Pakistan. But this shows after the introduction of reforms, the growth rate of GDP and sectoral constituents have fallen in Pakistan. Then in Pakistan, agricultural growth was based on good harvesting and not on institutionalized process of technological change. That means when there was good harvest, the economy was in good level. When it was not, economy shows a negative trend. We have studied if a country is able to build up its foreign exchange earnings by export of manufactured goods, it need not worry about foreign exchange reserve. But in the case of Pakistan, most of foreign exchange earnings came from remittance from Pakistanis work in Middle East and export of agricultural products and also from foreign loans. So due to over dependence on foreign loans, increasing difficulty in repaying or paying back the loans on the others. Okay. So these are the strategies that is or reform impact on Pakistan's economy. We also know about the India's conditions. India performed moderately in reforms period, but still 1/4 of its people living below poverty line, and also more than half of people depend on agriculture. Then infrastructure is lacking behind in many parts of our country, and we are facing unemployment issues. So these are the impact of reforms or impact of LPG policy or impact of structural reforms in Pakistan, India and China. Okay students, now we are coming to the end of this chapter. In this chapter, we made a comparison between the developmental strategies of India, China and Pakistan. Till the early 1980s, the developmental indicators of all three countries like GDP growth rate, demographical indicators and also human development indicators were similar. But after introduction of reforms in these three countries, that is in China 1978, in Pakistan 1988 and in India 1991, the impact of policy measures were different in these countries. China is ahead of India and Pakistan on many economic indicators. Now economically, China is far away from India and Pakistan. So China became a developed countries and India and Pakistan now also in the status of developing countries. Okay students, so this was our last chapter in Indian economy. So children, it is very important chapter, so you have to read the textbook. Then don't forget to attend the test paper, download your notes and study it well. See you in the next class with a new chapter.